Spin Lob let loose on 6th Street, Austin College gets TV time, and what's up with all the game days on today's TXWaterpolo Podcast. Hi, it's the TXWaterpolo Podcast. Joe is in North Texas, James in Austin. How are you, Joe?
Good, James. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Like the schedule is starting to get impacted a bit between all the stuff that we're going to talk about today and ODP and all that kind of stuff. So, and including what we started with, well, we didn't have necessarily a game day, but we had scrimmages in order to help referees, improve their skills, I suppose, on Sunday, and it worked out really well. But I know that all throughout the state there were game days.
Well, I mean, I don't think there's anything down in Houston. I think there's a couple things in Houston this upcoming weekend for game days. And there was kind of a North Texas game day that Thunder hosted at South Lake this past Sunday, which was great. It was three pools for all day on Sunday.
Yeah.
So, and that was all the ages. And we even had a 10 and under course going. So, and Thunder had a 10 under team, and the Lone Star Mavericks group had a 10 and under team, and they played it out. It was great.
When I moved to this state, I was unfamiliar with this concept, believe it or not. I was accustomed to just playing games, and the idea, meaning that they were all league games and that kind of thing. And so this is a bit of a new concept for me, but there's definitely an idea behind having these kinds of what we call game days. I mean, what's the idea?
I mean, the game day, this is something I think we've been doing on a regular basis since about 2003 or so. I think they started down in Houston, and then I think they just kind of spread throughout the state a little bit. It's creating games, it's creating opportunities, for athletes to play and improve. Because the one thing that kind of separates Texas from California or anywhere from outside of California is the number of games that people get to play. So right. It's a little difficult sometimes to drive all the way down to Houston every weekend. So the concept is, yes, we want to have our weekend tournaments each season, 3, 4, 5 kind of weekend tournaments each season, but we also want to have some game days, which are local, and you get the local clubs kind of together within the age groups and play, and it's only a one-day kind of type of event. And it's great for those kind of developmental athletes, the less experienced ones, the ones that are still new that come out to that aren't quite ready to go to the weekend tournaments, that aren't quite ready to go overnight. And I say not ready. They may be skilled enough. They may and they may be quote unquote kind of good enough. But the parents kind of may not be ready to spend the money and make that commitment yet. And this is just the easy way to get those people games and experience. And the game days can come in a lot of different kind of forms, and there's basically kind of 3 levels of game days. And there's one level is just like an intra-club game day. That's where a club will take all their athletes, they'll split them into different teams, split them into age groups or experience, and it'll probably be coach refereed. And it'll take like a Saturday morning or a Saturday afternoon or a Sunday afternoon, and it'll just be games. And it's a fun way for them to learn about how to line up at the beginning of a quarter, how to line up kind of after a goal. And then you can even split it up and have your good players play each other so they could have a real scrimmage as opposed to like a rush scrimmage at the end of a practice.
Right.
So that's like the simplest kind of form of game day. And then the next one is kind of like, where you just have a game day and everybody and all the clubs, within an area, it could be 2 clubs, it could be 3 clubs, it could be 5 clubs. They all get together and play. And it's something that's kind of very positive, where you get to play outside your club. And that's whenever you get referees to come in. That's when you sanction it.
Yeah.
And it's just a step up of competition. Then the final type of game day is kind of like a championship game day, which is something that I know we've had up in North Texas and down in Houston and even down in the Austin area for a few years, where there's each season, like you have one game day that is kind of like the North Texas Winter Champs or the North Texas Spring Champs or the Greater Houston Summer Champs. And that's where everybody, again, it's all the different clubs are invited. all the different age groups are represented, and they have awards, and it's more of a championship format as opposed to everybody just come and play 2 games and leave. It's more like, okay, you win and then you advance, or you lose and then you play in the consolation games. So I just these are things that we kind of developed, a long time ago, and it's just kind of grown. There's been leagues that have kind of lead up to the championship game days, but they're great. They're simple. They're easy. And it's one day as opposed to 2 or 3 day tournaments. And I think they're great. I mean, I think Aquatex has kind of hosted a bunch of those game days before, correct?
Yeah, and one of the things about this is that you've focused on the flexibility of it, which has been very appealing, because there are some points at which the Lone Star League, which is the league around Austin, is pretty robust. There's 3 or 4 game days and then a championship, or including a championship. But that costs a little bit of money, so you have the flexibility to sort of peel off from that and then do a combination. So some days you're just going to have game days in which, like you said, referees are coaches, and you can even divide the teams up however you want and give them funny names and all that. And then they're getting more competition. It's real, but it's not quite so formal. But there is absolutely something to be said about setting these things up, even though they're just including local teams, and you have a bit of flexibility about your rosters with referees wearing white stuff, and so that's definitely, it gives a bit more legitimacy to the entire process, including awards and referees wearing their whites and all that.
Because, I mean, a lot of people think that we're in competition with swimming and stuff like that. We're not in competition with swimming. I mean, yes, for pool time and stuff like that, sure, but really, we're in competition with Pee Wee football, rugby, lacrosse, soccer, all those other team sports, that are out there. And these kids play every weekend, every week. So we need to create something to where our athletes also get to play on a regular basis.
Yeah.
It's not just to keep the kids kind of in the pool and at the pool and keep playing water polo, but also it's to give them experience in games. Because, I mean, I know that, like, we counted up one time, this is about 5-6 years ago, we had game days and weekend tournaments almost every other weekend, right? So yeah. It was every other weekend's a weekend tournament. Then the weekends that we don't have the weekend tournaments, there's a game day up in North Texas. And I used to make our kids play a ton of game days too, or a ton on the game days, where if you're a 14, you might play also with the 16s and 18s.
Definitely, yeah.
To give them experience. They don't play as much with the older kids, but they get that experience. Definitely. And they get the best of both worlds. And I think I counted up, our kid probably maximized about 200 games a year between everything.
Yeah.
And that's the main difference. So do you want to have a high school kid that only plays like 30 games a year, or do you want to have a club kid that plays 200 plus games a year?
How about a high school kid who plays like 9 to 10 games a year?
There you go. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah,
exactly. Good. I mean, and I just think it's a tremendous tool. And I just encourage clubs out there to keep kind of pushing these game days. I know it's hard sometimes. It's like, I want my free Sundays kind of so I can watch some bad NFL football.
Oh, come on, man.
But just schedule it out in advance and just kind of keep your kids playing. And even if you just got to keep it simple within your club, that's fine. At least at least you're keeping your kids playing. And we are still, no matter how big a club is or how good a team is, we are still selling the sport to athletes and parents and people that are on the fringes. We need to make this fun. I mean, a new kid that comes and tries the sport, I constantly tell them, or their parents, they may not like it that first practice, but I tell them, I go, here, you got to come to multiple practices and come to a game day.
Yeah.
And every kid that does make it to a game day, they sign up. Every kid. Because they get to play.
Yeah.
And that is so vital. And a lot of clubs are like, well, we don't have enough kids to do a game day. You need to, you got to have a game day. You need 9 kids. I know some people look at me kind of cross-eyed and go, what are you talking about? I go, that's 3-on-3. The team that's sitting out are the goalies. And you just play a round robin. That's all it is. And that's 3 games. And that's about 2.5 hours done.
Yeah.
And you have a flipped scoreboard. That's it. That's all you need.
Yeah.
You don't need the clocks out, necessarily for it. Granted, as you get more kids, yes, you want to make it look nice and almost fake it and make it look really nice, because again, we are selling the sport to these athletes, and that's the most important thing out there. I mean, we have a ton of our zone, that like the Southwest zone. We have the most events of any zone outside of California. Okay, we also have the most game days.
Yeah.
And these kids and our kids get to play, and they get to play a lot. So, and I just think it's important to just kind of keep pushing that, especially during the spring season. The spring is it's high school.
It's the middle school season, right?
Yeah, I mean, and to me, for club water polo, it is the opportunity for all the clubs to really concentrate and push the younger kids, and this is their season. Granted, USA Water Polo supports the high school season, and we want the coaches to support it. Just, we always need more coaches, but just don't forget about the little guys.
No, not at all.
Well, that is the future. Those are the kids that are going to get to play 4 years of UIL water polo at some point.
I know. I'm excited about that already. All right. We're going to revisit this, because this is actually important in terms of growth as well, obviously, because there are these areas in the state that you know best, where these kinds of game days are going to take place. And I'm assuming Laredo and down in the valley and those places. So I'm looking forward to hearing about that. But this is a perfect time to insert a break.
In many podcasts, this time would be filled with ads for electric toothbrushes or recruiting services. Not here. Instead, we're asking you to show your support for TXWaterpolo by donating to it. Go to txwaterpolo.com/donate and help us continue covering the sport we love in the Lone Star State.
Hey, this is Jesse Smith, recent Pan Am gold medalist. I was just checking out Texas Water Polo from the TX Waterpolo Podcast. Also, you can check out the website. You can follow me at GoSmith now. Thanks, guys.
James and Joe back. I'm hydrated now. I had to take a water break. So the Southwest Zone season is upon us, really. The spring season. We already know how much there is on the calendar, but let's go over it a little bit again before we get into some college stuff, because Austin College is also playing this week. So what do we have? Go ahead.
Yeah, so just real quick on the calendar. Yes, there's going to be some game days around like around the state, but for the weekend tournament schedule, got the Spin Lob Tournament, which is the Masters Tournament this upcoming weekend in Austin. You got the Cowtown Rodeo, which is going to be all the age groups up in Keller, being hosted by Cowtown Water Polo Club. That'll be February 8th and 9th. And then, the teams will go to the boys ODP National Championships at the end of the month. And then the Thunder Spring Invite, which is going to be mainly for the 8th grade, 6th grade, and 4th grade and under kids. That'll be February 29th and March 1st. The girls then go to their the ODP champs on March 13th through the 15th. Then you got the Badger Brawl, the Southside Badger Brawl, which is going to be April 4th and 5th. Again, that's going to be specifically for the 8th grade, kind of 6th grade and 4th grade and under athletes. And then you got the national team selection camp kind of for the boys at the end of April.
Don't remind me about that. Yeah.
And then we also have we're probably going to have the Houston Open, which is going to be a hops, which is going to be a new hops event. It's going to be at the University of Houston. That'll be April 25th and 26th. We're still looking for a location for the Tags State Championship.
Oh, yeah. Right.
So if clubs out there and you want to host Tags and you're hearing this, please let me know. This is Joe. This is Joe. Please email me. That'll either be April 25th, 26th, or we may even move it back to May 9th and 10th, which it was last year. It was the week after the state championship, and we actually had the most teams ever. So we're kind of keeping it flexible.
Okay.
But also this upcoming spring, as everybody knows, it is the Texas high school water polo season.
Yeah.
And the official the state high school swim meet is actually February 14th and 15th. And then the following weekend, everybody's going to start their tournaments, their games, their weekday games. I think the first weekend of tournament is going to be February 21, 22, which is these are going to be Friday, Saturday dates that I'm telling everybody now. And then, it goes throughout the whole spring season. Got the region championships, for all 4 regions are going to be April 17th and 18th. And then 2 weeks later, the Texas High School State Champs are going to be May 1st and 2nd. And that'll be at the Cy-Fair Auditorium in Northwest Houston. Yeah. So that'll be a great event. That's always that always is. We only have 2 more of those. Then we're gonna.
That's what I was thinking too. That's it, right?
We have 2 more. So we have this year, and then we have spring of 2021, and then that'll be the last TXWaterpolo Water Polo State Championship, and then we go into the UIL State Championship of fall of 2021.
It's incredible. We're hosting a couple high school tournaments as a club, and because we got the pool space, and we've done it in the past. And I was actually thinking about renaming it, the next to last, because we got 2 more years. That's it. I might sound like I'm unhappy about that. It's exactly the opposite. I think I can't wait for the fall of 2021. No matter how glitchy it might be, no matter how new this is going to be to people, I don't care. I'm just excited about it.
Yeah, me too. I'm excited. You may not be worried about the glitchiness. I'm a little concerned about some stuff here and there, but I think that people are doing the right thing. There's a lot of schools that are asking the right questions, that are going to start building towards fall of 2021. But in the short term, there's a lot of water polo going on this spring. There's even Austin College, I think, starting this weekend, right?
Yeah, I want to get to that, but it's interesting you mentioned that I have heard from ISD people secondhand that they're telling all of their schools, you better get ready for water polo. And that was a bit of a surprise to me, a obviously very pleasant one. So this is really having an effect already. But anyway. Austin College, yep, we talked to Coach Mark last week. They're off to Brown this weekend. And so the schedule we talked about a little bit last week, but what's really important is that we've since found out that every single one of those games that they're playing over the weekend is going to be streamed on ESPN Plus, which are you a subscriber? Because I am.
Yes, I am.
I can't remember how much it costs, so I'm always sensitive about that. But
I do know how much it costs. It's about $5 a month. So
is that right? Okay. So if you're a fan of a nerd about water polo, that might not be a bad idea to go check that out. Although my affection, see that your dog agrees with me. ESPN is kind of a pain in the butt, but
yeah, I don't have the soundproof room for sure. So. So Austin College is playing 5 games this week, and I think they're all going to be on ESPN Plus. I think they're playing Brown and Claremont Mud Scripps on Friday, January 31 at 4 and then 7:10 p.m. And these are Central Standard Time games. And then on Saturday they're playing Siena and Bucknell at 9:30 a.m. and then 7:30 p.m. Whoa, that's not a very good schedule right there.
No kidding. Okay. Do you see that too?
That's like a 10-hour little difference in game times. That's all right. And then they're playing the first-year program, Long Island University. I guess is it their first year or is it their second year?
Yeah, no, it's the first one. I'm fascinated by that team.
And they're playing. That's nice and early. That's 9:20 a.m. They're not going to get out of the pool. They're not going to get back to their hotel room until like 10 o'clock on Saturday night. Then they got to be right back at the pool at 8 a.m. the next morning. So,
do you think they go back? In between games? I mean, I don't even know. I didn't talk to Mark.
I don't know. I would.
Yeah, I would too.
I'm sure they might go and watch, the team that they might be playing next or something. But, I'm sure Coach Mark's going to keep them busy and kind of keep them rested and kind of have some activities. You're up in Providence, Rhode Island. Just go drive down and go see all the nice kind of houses down in Newport, Rhode Island and stuff like that. So, just kind of keep the kids off their feet, Like it's a little too cold to go to the beach though. So
just to avoid the icy roads. That's key. So that's coming up this weekend. That's actually a big tournament. There's a lot of games there. And just a really short note. I mean, this season, these Olympic year seasons are fascinating for the women in particular, I think. This last weekend, San Jose State beat Cal. So that's Cal's third loss to teams that they're likely that they would normally beat, but they've lost a lot of talent. Stanford.
Like you said, they lost a lot of talent. Have they lost a lot of talent to the that because they're training for the national team, or
Yes.
did they graduate a lot of talent?
No, well, both. But I mean, they've lost talent that would otherwise be playing for them and they're for national teams throughout the world. So it's not just U.S. nationals. It's all over the place.
Okay.
And Stanford beat UC Irvine by 1. So I mean, this season is going to be interesting in the same way that it was for the men. There's a lot of churn among the top seeds, and there will be even more among the women. So Austin College might slide in there a little bit, and we just don't have any idea how they're going to do against a team like LIU, which is a complete mystery, even though it's fascinating.
I do think it's going to be a little bit different than the men's season, because the men's season, you still have those national team athletes that are still playing.
Yes.
Okay. Now, the women's season, those national team athletes are not playing.
Correct.
So because it's so much closer to the Olympic Games, and then it's like this is the time whenever they start training, full-time training. This is what their job is now, is to train, is to get ready for the Olympics this summer. So it is a different dynamic. So Stanford may only have beaten UCI by 1, but there were a whole lot of different reasons why USC was losing at the beginning of the season.
That's true.
That fall.
Yeah.
So,
what was that reason, Joe?
The other team was scoring more points. So there you go. I don't know.
I see.
But it's just one of those things where it's a lot of fun, and just kind of check out the various kind of team websites, and there's plenty of opportunities to watch water polo throughout this spring at the collegiate level. And these are some of the best athletes in the world. I mean, I think kind of you just mentioned it. The national team players from other countries come here to play NCAA water polo on both the men and the women's side.
Yep.
Especially on the women's side. So I mean, it is big time water polo, and people are going, and they're looking to have a good time. And I mean, it is. I mean, to me, women's water polo is almost. I almost think it's more exciting to watch than men's water polo. So
I agree with that. Go to YouTube or to Daily Motion and check out some of the European Championships that just completed. Spain won it for the women, and just look at the rosters and recognize the names. Oh, that was somebody who played at Arizona State, or that's somebody who played at Cal. I mean, it was not uncommon whatsoever that some of the best players on these teams are the ones who came to the States to play.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, one more break, and then we will finish up.
Deflection, ball's loose, Youstra, ball game!
Hi, I'm U.S. Olympian Janai Kerr, and when I need to stay up to date with my water polo news in Texas, I listen to the TXWaterpolo Podcast.
It's the final segment of probably a little bit of a shorter show. I mean, at this time of year, there's stuff to talk about. There's stuff not to talk about. When the high school season comes, it's going to be plenty to talk about. But this weekend is Spin Lob. It's the tournament held in Austin, or at least it has been traditionally held in Austin for the last few years, where they host big clubs, Olympic Club, NIAC, so on. And are you going?
Yeah, I'm actually going to be. I'm kind of running the tournament this weekend.
What a shocker!
So, but it's actually going to be it's actually a Southwest Zone event this year. So,
okay.
And and I just want to make sure that it's run well as we transition from the local host to a Southwest Zone kind of run event. I mean, the Longhorn Aquatics is still helping out, but yeah, guys, hey, if you're in Austin this weekend, there's gonna be some very good water polo. We have 3 courses going from 11:30 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Saturday, from 7 a.m. to about 3 p.m. on Sunday. We have some of the best club teams from around the country. There are 30 total teams, 20 men's teams and 10 women's teams. They're all masters teams. They're all kind of the open teams. We also have the best kind of the Southwest Zone teams are kind of also going to be in their plan. So it's going to be a tremendous opportunity for if you're in town to come and watch. And the tournament does get over in time to go watch the Super Bowl.
I know that was a key. I'm not sure I care very much about the Super Bowl except as a cultural thing now. But still, I wouldn't want to be sitting at UT. No offense, while that game is going on. I'd rather be on my couch.
And there's no admission. Just come on in and watch. So.
All right, I will. Well, I might. I'm going to come. I selectively show up. I want to see what the end of the Saturday games Sunday games look like. That's what I like the most. Although I remember a couple years ago when you were coaching at Thunder, I was watching your young guys take on some of the young, relatively sort of high school guys taking on, I can't remember who, Nyack, somebody big, and that was a blast. It was so much fun to watch.
Yeah, was it? There aren't any youth club teams in this tournament anymore, just because there's just no room.
Yeah,
and it is a Masters tournament. But yeah, I still remember our youth team kind of going up against Nyack, this is like what, 2017. So this is what, 6 months after the Olympics. Yeah. And a kid comes up to me who's a freshman in high school and goes, Coach, like, are there Olympians over there? I go, yeah, there's 4 starting right now, and so are you. Go. Oh my God. And then one of our athletes kind of comes over and he goes, Coach. And this is the same kid. He goes, like the big guy over there, he just grabbed me and just said, stop swimming. I go,
I remember that.
Then I go, well, he doesn't want to swim with you, so keep swimming. And then he goes, and then he goes, just okay. And then he goes back out there, and then he comes back to me in the second quarter with this huge grin on his face. And I'm like, what just happened? He goes, I kept swimming and he kicked me. It's really hard. It's awesome, Coach. I'm like, okay, good.
But, there you go. There's your education.
and that's a shout out to Cameron Cohen, who's now a senior in high school. So
all right, he's gotten kicked by an Olympian.
Oh yeah, and I think that was John Mann was just kind of was the one Olympian out there.
He had to pick on one of the biggest dudes on the team. That's very, very wise. I just heard that there were players who would be playing against these Olympians, and they were like, very intimidated and all that, and 30% of the time the Olympian would be giving them, crap, and the rest of the time they were trying to teach them, like in the pool, like, here's what you should do. And the other time, and then the rest is that kind of the same stuff. It's like, hey, just slow down, will you? I had a good time last night. I'm not trying to make myself sick. It's a great tournament.
Yeah, I mean, and that's, I don't think John Mann was trying to help him out at all. Just John Mann didn't want to deal with them, and like, please stop swimming. This is a Masters tournament. You're not supposed to be swimming that hard. And yes, again, a lot of the teams come in. They come in because of the location. It's in Austin. Everybody's gonna have a good time. This is their opportunity to go to 6th Street and and Rainy Street and anything else that's out there just down in Austin. But kind of Tom Andrew and Becca Andrew and Allie Hill and Arseni, they're still the local host kind of for the event, and they've always put on a great event. The people love to come to Austin and play. There's going to be a Saturday night social for all the teams. There is? There will be.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. I might have to attend that.
I am not going to.
Why not?
I enjoyed 6th Street way too much as a college kid.
Oh, that kind of thing. No, I don't go to 6th Street. I'm too old.
So I don't know what it's going to be. And after being at the pool for 10 hours straight, I really will, and then I have to be at the pool at 6 a.m. the next morning.
Yeah,
I'm good.
Yeah, there's enough whistle blowing in my ear during the day to go out and then watch some good music. But yeah, I do not do that.
And then of course you got to go watch this, and then I got to try to figure out kind of how to leave early, just so I can drive back to North Texas and be home in time to watch the Super Bowl, or at least the Super Bowl commercials. So,
do you care? Who do you want to win, and who do you think is going to win?
I don't necessarily care that much. I do think the Chiefs are going to win, just because I think it's kind of like their year type thing. Like, they were so close last year.
Yeah.
But if I was cheering for a team, because I think the Chiefs are the favored guys, I think I'm going to cheer for the 49ers just because. And because they're like, I always just kind of cheer for the underdog. But more importantly, I'm going to be cheering for a good game. I just hope it's close in the fourth quarter, because I grew up and there were like 9 out of 10 years straight where the Super Bowl was not close whatsoever.
Yeah, it's no fun.
So I don't want to see a 54-10 game. I want to see a close game in the fourth quarter. That's all I care about. So.
I'm having trouble with this game. This is like choosing between two different totalitarian dictators. I can't stand either team. I grew up I was born in the Bay Area, so I chose the team that was the correct one at the time, which is the Raiders. The 49ers were terrible at the time. So I can't stand the 49ers, but the Chiefs are obviously one of the great rivals of the Raiders, maybe even more so. So it's going to be a flip of the coin to me. I just don't want to see the Santa Clara 49ers win.
Yeah. You may not even watch it. So
I'm going to watch it. We'll have friends over. It's fun, but it would be in passing. I'll have my computer on and, all that. I'll probably be watching water polo at the same time, which is the way to go.
All right. You're a water polo dork, but
I am a dork. No question about it.
I'm the same way, so it's all good.
Are you going to have Dr. Pepper during your Super Bowl?
I'm still Mountain Dew Dr. Pepper free for 20.
You are.
So,
you are. We'll have to keep checking.
I've had a couple Cokes here or there, and then some people go, "Oh, why are you doing that?" I used to drink way too much. I used to have like 5 Dr. Peppers a day or something like that, right? So now I might have 1 or 2 Cokes a week. So there you go.
Good for you.
So it's working. So just kind of do the math over the next 11 months. So
are you making up for it with other stuff? Are you like slamming Gatorade or something? No.
I'm slamming water. I'm drinking a lot more water nowadays.
Me too. I have it right here. You can actually hear it right there. Okay, Joe, we're done. We're done with another TX Waterpolo podcast. That was good. So thank you very much as always.
All right. Take care, Chip.
Yeah. Oh, and go get that delivery from the door.
Yes.
It's great to have a little bit of inside baseball in this podcast. I'm actually shocked that nobody's ever knocked on my door yet, but it's going to happen. So for you, go to txwaterpolo.com, listen to the podcast, find us on social media, leave comments. And thank you for all of you for listening and telling a friend about the TX Waterpolo podcast. And until next week, so long from Austin.